Hello beautiful people, I hope that everybody is doing well. Welcome back to a new video. So I thought that I'm going to be making a very quick video about a particular thing that is happening in the UK today, and probably by the time you are watching this video it has already happened or it is happening, and that is the trialing, the testing of the emergency alert system in the UK, which was announced by the UK government that it will be happening. So they announced that on the 19th of March, that on the 23rd of April there will be this nationwide testing of this mobile phone emergency alert system, and everybody is going to be receiving a text message with a sound, like a siren sound. They will not be able to use their phones until they acknowledge that particular message. So I knew that this is going to happen because I heard about that, but I even forgot. And then thank you very much, Robert, for reminding me of that in the comment section in one of my videos on my other channel. And I thought, yeah, let's look into that and let's see what is behind this whole thing, because it is very, very interesting that they are doing this exactly now, and there was no such thing existing in the UK up to this point. So there are many countries that are using this system, even where I live. Even last year, I used to receive loads of these text messages where the government is letting people know that there's a danger, maybe some flooding, some earthquakes, or some natural disasters that might be happening, even though I never received a text message about earthquakes. But yeah, and when I first heard message with that sound, I was like, what is going on? It was super scary, and then people that are not prepared for such thing, they can be really scared. So the 23rd of April, today, as I'm recording this, is an important day in the UK. I no longer live in the UK, so I don't have a first-hand experience about this whole thing. But I know that the 23rd is St. George's Day in the UK, so there's a celebration of St. George. That was a character, a legendary historical character that was killed, that is considered a saint. So whenever there's a celebration or such thing that people are being focused on, and millions of people are being focused on, there's a lot of energy that gets released in the collective, a lot of energy that can be leveraged. So it's very interesting that this particular emergency alert, testing is happening exactly today when people are being focused on one particular thing. So like there are holidays, for example, like Christmas or Easter, which are even bigger holidays. There are bigger celebrations and there's even more energy that gets released. But if you start to test such system at Easter day, like there's gonna be a lot of pushback and a lot of anger around that in the collective, or if you're doing that at Christmas. But then if you are doing that on a day which is like a smaller celebration, but it's also very significant for many people, that will be less evident. It will be less evident that it's happening on purpose. So as I said, like this text message, when it's received in the UK, like every single cell phone will receive this text message, and you won't be able to use your phone until you acknowledge this message. However, the UK government also said that when they announced this, they included the ability to turn off this setting of emergency alerts, and they also included instructions on how to do so. So that is making me believe that this is not that much about the testing of the system, but more about the response to the system, how people will respond to the system. So I have a few ideas about why this is happening, and I want to pull a few cards as well to see what is going on. But I believe that one of the reasons behind this is, again, like not to understand how many people are using cell phones or how many people will turn on or off these settings, but more like about how people will respond to the system. Now, the other thing that is behind this, the other reason I believe, is to create panic. Because just think about the average person walking on the street or being at home, and all of a sudden they receive a text on a Sunday, and this horrible sound, like this siren sound, and they don't even know about this being a trial, because many people have no idea that this is actually a trial. They didn't even hear about that. the first reaction of the average person would be when they are looking at their phone and seeing it coming from the government that, oh my God, this must be something super, super serious. So the first thing is like fear getting activated in the collective. In that, I don't know, like few seconds or 1 minute, there's fear that is getting activated and there's panic that is getting activated. And just imagine multiplying that panic with millions of people, or even like hundreds of thousands of people. How much of the energy can get released? How much of this fear-based energy can get released that can be leveraged? So a little bit like is giving me the vibes of a ritual, because every single ritual works with the emotional response of people and how they are responding to that particular, I don't know, visual scenario, how they are responding to certain sounds, to certain impressions, and then certain symbols as well. So every single ritual is including symbols, but if it's not including symbols, then it is including sounds or is including visuals. And just imagine that because many people are not prepared to receive such a text message, it can cause some panic attacks as well in the collective. I think this is no joke, and I'm very curious about the response of that after it happens. And also the causing of panic is making people to be programmed. So if something is happening in a repetitive way, like you're receiving such a text message and you're associating that sound with something dangerous, with something horrible happening, with that doom and gloom energy, you are associating also the governments as well with something that is very serious that is happening. Then whenever you are receiving the text message, then it will automatically create panic in you. So people can get really easily programmed to get in line and follow orders when such sound is getting activated, because they are associating it with something. What is very interesting behind symbols and ancient symbols as well is that there's an association with that particular symbol in the collective consciousness, in the collective subconscious, that has been programmed within us like generations upon generations. And that is why, as I said, certain rituals are happening when there's already a big focus on a particular thing, and then also like on concerts, on certain ceremonies, there's a lot of energy that is getting activated and that can be used for destructive or constructive purposes. So it goes both ways. So a symbol in and of itself, or a visual or a sound, can be very neutral as well, but you are giving it a meaning based on the experiences and collective experiences, because we have embedded in our DNA certain information that is related to that particular symbol, to that particular sound, to that particular visual. So yeah, I think that smells very much like that. And then going back to the 23rd as the Saint George's Day. Saint George's is a patron saint of England and of Georgia, and he's been considered a warrior saint. The legend says that he rescued the Libyan king's daughter from a dragon. So he slayed the dragon, so he's being considered like a martyr, like a hero. Yeah, he's a patron saint of England. So again, like the symbology of the dragon being slayed is like the symbology of the light winning over the darkness. But every single celebration like this, or every single symbol like this, and Saint George is a symbol of that, right? The light winning over the darkness. But what is very typical for these occult practices, esoteric practices and dark occult practices, is that they are inverting symbology. You know, the cross is a great example of that, like the reverted cross, like the reversed cross, which is the symbol of Satanism and of these occult, underground circles or Masons. So it is very typical for these underground circles to invert these symbols, and energy can flow both ways. It can flow in a positive direction or a negative direction. Like the significance behind that can be both of the polarities, and it depends what parts of ourselves is being activated when we are focusing on that particular thing, right? So having a celebration of the light slaying, quote unquote, the darkness, and mixing that celebration with something that is being associated with danger, like these emergency alerts, can really reverse these energies. So the energies can start flowing in the opposite direction. So what is happening is that you will no longer, I know that this is a little bit of like extreme example, but what can happen is that subconsciously you will start associating St. George's Day with something that is dangerous. So this is how the inversion is happening. I hope that is making sense. So it is giving me the vibes also of the distortion of a portrait of a hero and what a hero is, because Saint George died being tortured and executed in Palestine around 303 AD. So what is the message that we are receiving as a result of that? The message is that if you are someone that is rebelling against the system, then you might lose your life, then you might die. And being a hero and being a martyr is not something to be celebrated any longer. It is something that is coming with danger, that can be associated with danger as well. So be careful about what you are rebelling against, because you might end up like he did. So you understand what I mean. You can reverse, you can invert such a heroic act that someone slayed the dragon and was fighting with the darkness. It can be associated with a very dangerous thing to do, and especially when you are focusing on that, you are even receiving a text message that is talking about the danger and that your life is in danger. You are not an exception. Even if you are living in the UK, anything can happen to you, and then we are here to let you know, and then we are here to save you. So probably many people are looking at this thing as something that is a great idea, a great act that is coming from the government. But I believe that on an occult level, the significance behind that is energy and inversion. And on a 3D level, so more on a material plane, the energy behind it can be the testing of the technology, how many people are responding to the system and how they are responding to the system. It is a little bit like an upgrade test to the track and trace system that was introduced in the UK during the pandemic, where if you were in contact with someone that was infected, you received a text message from the government or from NHS, I think from the NHS, that, oh, you have to stay at home for 2 weeks. And that was a big problem. I think last year or the year before, I can't really remember. But the cost of that system was £37 billion. They want to test the reaction in case that such a system will be introduced again. And this is a great way to send people direct information from the government to intimidate them. So it's a control tactic, in my opinion. It's one of those control tactics, definitely. So yeah, I'm very curious about what the response to this will be. But now I want to pull a few cards and let's see what we are getting here. What is behind this? So I'm going to use this beautiful deck which I received from Karima. So she sent me this beautiful deck. It's called Pagan Other Words Tarot, and it is beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. I love the artwork. It has this very beautiful Renaissance artwork, and it has some additional cards which you don't find in the traditional tarot deck. So yeah, thank you so much, Karima. Thank you so much for your generosity. I love this deck, and I love the texture of it. It's just like beautiful. Such a great quality. Okay, so Spirit, please tell us what is the deal with this alert system. So what is behind this alert system? Okay, I have one card here which just flew out, and that is the Six of Wands upright. Oh, I hope you can see it. Anyways. Okay, so alert system, the testing of this system. What is this about? We have the Ten of Swords that is upright. Yeah. We have the King of Swords upright as well. We have the last quarter moon. Interesting, but you are seeing like the mirrored version because like my camera is mirrored. But this is the last quarter moon. And we have the Empress that is reversed. King of Wands upright. And the bottom of the deck, we have the Nine of Swords. That is so interesting. So bottom of the deck, right off the bat, the Nine of Swords talks about anxiety, fear, nightmares, worrying. So what is behind that, like, is straight away, like, is telling me that the creation of panic and the creation of fear in the collective. Okay, let me think a little bit. So we have the Empress reversed, we have the last quarter moon, and the King of Wands. So the King of Wands is my card of the collective many times, and is also the card of this rebellious, nature. Kind of like being so free-spirited that we are able to rebel against the system. So the Wands energy, this fire energy, always reminds me of this rebellion and the energy of rebellion. We also had the Ten of Swords, yeah? And the Ten of Swords is like hitting rock bottom, but also being backstabbed. Like getting to a place of rock bottom in a sense that we have been having some issues for a long time. So it's not like a sudden shift when we are just on the floor. So it's not something that is coming out of nowhere or unexpected, but it's coming slowly. So it's a little bit like being backstabbed slowly, and then also losing hope slowly. And then we had the Ten of Swords and the Nine of Swords as well at the bottom of the deck. And we have the Eight of Swords as well, which was below that. Interesting. So all the swords. So this sword energy talks about like losing hope slowly, or being defeated slowly. So it's giving me the vibes of that. And it's a little bit like no matter what we are doing, like we are never safe. We would rather mind our own business than starting to rebel against the system with that King of Wands, so that rebellious energy, because we might regret that. Look at that. I love the artwork. There's like a beautiful, sorry about that, my camera is, there's like a lion there, and he's having the lion. Yeah, like almost like having power over that lion, having control over that lion, but in a beautiful way, like as a leader, not controlling that lion. So there's this energy of very healthy leadership, that is the King of Wands, very passionate leadership as well. But then we have the Ten of Swords, which wants to bulldoze that beautiful energy. And then we have the Six of Wands as well, which is celebration, and then also like a temporary celebration. And then we had the King of Swords as well. So we have like this very strong sword energy and masculine energy, and the Empress is reversed. So it's almost like trying to bulldoze all those feminine energies that are in the collective, and the rising of the feminine energy, and then using a lot of masculine energy, and using a lot of aggressive, fear-based energy, and then energy that is creating panic in the collective. Now the last quarter of the moon, because this deck, I love that it has these Luna cards, is talking about timing. And what the last quarter is symbolizing is more like the last push for something. So this is how I'm reading that. But it can talk about being halfway when it comes to releasing something. So new moons are always symbolizing a new beginning, right? The new energies, when we are putting new energies into something, new focus onto something. And then full moons are for letting go, is like a symbol of completion. And the last quarter moon is like not being quiet there to let go. So there are certain things, and I believe that this is like a message from Spirit, which is saying that there are certain things that need to work out still in the collective. We need to get to an extreme, like when it comes to fear, and when it comes to panic, and when it comes to disempowerment. So finally we can rise up, because we will feel like, okay, there's no more movement forward. And that is the Ten of Swords energy, when you are hitting rock bottom, but then you realize that you cannot go lower than that. So the collective consciousness is reaching that energy, of the swords, of being defeated by outside forces, which we have no control over whatsoever. And we are completely disempowered by these external forces. And the only way to get back to our empowerment is by believing in ourselves. For that, we need to go in that direction, in that extreme direction of fear, that extreme direction of panic, of doom and gloom, of apocalypse. When we realize that as within, so without, and the only way to stop the fear is to clear up the energies that are related to our traumas, which are triggering our fear. Because if there's no trauma, then there's no negative event that we can associate the current events with. There's no triggering, there's no emotional flashback. So the collective needs to realize that we have to work on our traumas, and that will not happen with everybody. Certain people will be not able to work on their traumas, and that's a spectrum as well. Some of us are having horrible traumas, some of us are having less horrible traumas, but everything comes down to the awareness about that emotional flashback, of that trigger that is happening as a response to certain stimulation, certain symbols, certain sounds, certain associations. And what is quite sad also is that there's a bulldozing down. That's the right, I don't know, expression that I can use now. A bulldozing down of the feminine energies, of this Empress energy, of this divine feminine in the collective. And like a lot of emphasis and a lot of attempt to push away those energies and to suppress those feminine energies. There's a lot of attempt to that with all the transhumanist movement, with all this digital society and then inorganic digital direction that humanity is adopting. Alright, so this is what I'm seeing, and I thought that this is an important topic because it's symbolizing the way that humanity is being treated at the moment. This is a control tactic, is one of those control tactics, and we will see more and more of that. We would rather understand what is behind those things and what is the occult and esoteric significance also behind these things, not only what is happening on a 3D level. Alright guys, I hope it resonated, I hope it helped. If it did, please subscribe to my channel. I have another channel which is called Esoterica with Evelyn, where I'm sharing different readings. And then if you want to book a personal reading, then you will find information about that down below in the description box. If you want to support my work, you can do it on Patreon, where I'm sharing readings, podcasts, discussions about these kind of topics. And thank you so much everybody who is supporting my work. And thank you for your emails, for your beautiful words. It means a lot to me. So take care everyone, and I cannot wait to see you next time.